Hi everyone, I'm Rosie and welcome back to my channel. My insanely easy method of making sourdough, which I'll link to in the description box, takes about 24 hours from the time I mix the dough to the time I bake it, but I don't always want to wait that long. So today, I'll show you how I adjust my method when I want bread in half the time. These adjustments also work better for people in warmer climates or on hotter days where 24 hours of fermentation is too long. I'll also show you how my method works with all white flour. Let's get started. I have 500 grams of bread flour, 2 teaspoons of Himalayan pink salt, 2 tablespoons of dried rosemary, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then I add 2 tablespoons of starter that I fed just before bed and let ferment at room temperature overnight. If I use my starter straight from the fridge, I would use 3 tablespoons instead of 2 to help the dough proof. Then I mix in 1½ cups of warm water. In my normal method, I don't bother warming the water given the 24 hours of fermentation time, but since this dough will have less time to rise, I start with warm water. Of note, this is the same amount of water I use in my normal recipe, which is a combination of white bread flour and sprouted whole wheat flour. If you've seen my insanely easy sourdough video, you might notice that the dough is wetter than that one. That's because white flour tends to absorb less water than whole grain flour. If you want a drier dough, feel free to use 1¼ cups of water or less instead. I just mix until there's no more dry flour left and let it rest for about 30 to 60 minutes. Yep, this is another ugly duckling dough. It's lumpy and bumpy now, but just let it rest and hydrate and it'll smooth out soon enough. If you want to see how I maintain my starter without any discard, I'll include that link in the description box as well. My kitchen temperature is usually 68 degrees Fahrenheit, but I want a warmer environment to speed up the fermentation process. I'm putting the dough into the toaster oven on the ferment function for 1 hour at 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and I just leave the dough in the toaster oven after it automatically turns off. You don't need a toaster oven with a ferment setting. Just find a warm place in your home or use a slightly warmed oven, or use your oven with just the light on. Throughout the rest of the day, I gently fold the dough every 1 to 2 hours until it's ready to be transferred to the loaf pan for its final proof. In between these folds, I put the dough back in the toaster oven, which is off but still has some residual warmth. The dough is ready for the final proof when it's nice and airy, about 50% to nearly double in volume, and smells sour. This took about 6 hours for me today. Depending on your room temperature, this could take a shorter or longer amount of time. Once covered, put the dough back in a warm spot. It's ready for baking when it's risen so that the top is slightly above the edge of the loaf pan. For the first 20 minutes of baking, I leave the top cover on to trap in steam to help the dough poof up, also known as oven spring. I then let it continue baking for 40 minutes, so it's about 1 hour of baking time total at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope you give this method a try on a warm day and let me know how it goes for you. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more easy cooking and baking videos, and say hi in the comments. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye!